Good morning. You know I'm going to do this. We can do better than that. Good morning. That's better. I'm Laura Ettinger, and I share leadership of today's service with Reverend Kathy Ellis. We welcome you to celebrate in the transformative power of religious community. Whoever you are, wherever you live, whomever you love, whatever you do for a living, you are welcome at the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. We invite you to join us for coffee hour following this morning's service, either downstairs or on Zoom, online or in person. We're so glad you're here.
Have words from the Passover Haggadah. Mike? It's not on. Hello? Yeah. Words from a Passover Haggadah for our chalice lighting. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, and to serve the spirit of freedom and love.
Feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain, race in vain. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain, race in vain. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain, race in vain. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain, race in
Thank you. So we have a story this morning, a story that is thousands of years old. It's a story that's in the Bible and the Torah. It's a story that people wrote to try to understand their place in the world and who they were. And it's a story that's repeated every year. It's a story that's repeated in the Passover Seder. We are reaching the end of the 8 days of Passover, which celebrates God freeing the Hebrew people from slavery in the Egyptian Empire. And that story had a lot to do with Moses and how he talked with God and One might say, talked back to God. The first time that it happened, Moses was walking along, just taking care of his sheep, and he saw over there a bush that was burning. Now, that's not so very odd, but it didn't burn up, and it didn't stop burning. That bush just kept burning. So Moses said, let me go over there and see what's going on with this bush that doesn't stop burning. And when God saw Moses coming, she called out,
Moses!
And Moses answered, Hanene, which means, here I am.
I am God. I have seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries and felt their sufferings. Now I have come down to rescue them from Egypt, out of their place of suffering, and to bring them to a place that is wide and fertile, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now go, I will send you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
So what do you think Moses said? Do you think he said, oh, that's great, let's get started, God? No, he did not. He said, why me? I don't think I could do that.
Well, I'll be with you and I'll help you.
But what if the people don't believe me? Then God shows Moses some miracles and says these signs will convince the people. But Moses was still not happy about this, and he says, please, God, please, I'm not good with words. I wasn't good with words yesterday or the day before, nor am I now even after you spoke to me. I speak slowly and with a wooden tongue.
Go. I will be with you when you speak. I will teach you what to say.
Please. My God, please send someone else, not me. Then God's anger flashed and she said,
If you can't do it, I know someone who can. Aaron, your brother. He can speak, and he can speak well. He is coming to meet you this minute. He will do the speaking for you, and you will put the words in his mouth. I myself will be there, and I will show you both what to do.
Okay. So Moses went to do what God asked him to do, and it wasn't easy, and it took a long time. But eventually, the people escaped from slavery and Egypt. And for us, too, working together, because now Moses didn't do this alone, we each can do our parts. We each can do our parts to make things better for people and to bring more love and more fairness to the world. And now, we will sing our children and their teachers out to their classroom. So this morning, as we do a couple of times a year, we welcome our new members. So I'm going to call their names and I have a brief statement from them. And I ask you to come forward when your name is read. Linda Holzheim. Linda says, after negative experiences in a different religion, I was happy to find Unitarian Universalism and the principles and commitment to social justice that I found here. I'm grateful for the community I have found here at the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg, which has given me the freedom to walk my own spiritual path. In this congregation, I have found the compassion and understanding that has provided me with the peace that I needed to finally sign the book. And I am honored to become a member of the congregation. And we welcome you, Linda. Andre, I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name. Lahurla? Tell me how to say it. Lahurlier. Sounds French. And Sophia Zapata. And their little one, Renard. Andrea and Sophia are natives of Chile who moved to Harrisburg in 2019. Hello. He is an assistant professor at Harrisburg University. What do you teach, Andre?
Data science.
Data science. And she is an astrologer and counselor. They were attracted to our church by its lack of dogma, the friendly congregation, and our hands-on attitude toward social issues. So we welcome you. Thank you. Erica Duran is a born UU. Her UU journey has included membership at Mainline and Westchester, helping to start Wellsprings congregation, and working at the York congregation for 4 years. She feels that UCH is very welcoming and supports belonging and is thrilled to call this place her spiritual home. She is a development and communications officer at Church World Service Harrisburg, an artist, wife, mom, kayaker, and the wrangler of a herd?
A herd.
How many?
3.
Of corgis. She lives in Mechanicsburg. Susan Stillman, there you are, came to UCH looking for a community of like-minded souls. This is her first exposure to any organized religion. She's thrilled to have found such an open and welcoming group of people and has felt embraced by the congregation from the start. She looks forward to becoming more involved with UCH as time and talents allow. And we welcome you too, Susan. So I forgot to tell you to bring up that blue paper, but looks like most you did. It's also on the screen if you can read that. So let us join in our welcoming ceremony. You who have joined the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg have reached an important milestone in your faith journey. We are glad you have joined us. We offer you a warm welcome into the life of our congregation. May you find friends here. May you be of service here. May your spirit grow and thrive here. Congregation, you're...
We welcome you as an equal member of this congregation, of this faith tradition, and of our shared spiritual journey. We will listen to you. We will support you. The whole of our church is greater than the sum of its parts. You add much to our congregation. We need you. When we fall short, please stay in relationship with us and help us do better. Welcome.
May each of us be mindful of the privileges and responsibilities of membership.
I have to say their piece.
Oh my goodness! Your piece is very important. New members. We
promise to support the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg throughout time, talents, and treasures. We look to you for guidance, fellowship, and support. We wish to live by the principles of Unitarian Universalism. When we fall short, we stay
mindful of the privileges and responsibilities of membership in this congregation and in the tradition of Unitarian Universalism. In our free church tradition, only voluntary membership brings a person into religious membership. By signing our membership book, you have taken your place in a long line of free thinkers, heretics, and radicals who dared to liberate religion from creed and crown. Our heritage now is richer because you all are part of it now. And that choice brings commitment. And so all of us, today and each day, we recommit ourselves to the work of Unitarian Universalism in our lives, our families, our church, and our world. Grateful for so many who have gone before us, we pledge ourselves to their legacy and to this church's future. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. Welcome. I have an introduction to make with her. I wanted to say something about this hymn before we move into it. I forgot to tell Chris. What I want to say is that this song refers to the Exodus story. To cross the Red Sea safely, first, for those of you who don't know the story, the Red Sea parts, and so they walk across the sea and not on water. But it wasn't parted when they got there. It didn't part until the people first stepped in the water. So those people had to have some courage, some faith in their journey. And this song also refers to Christian Testament parables. When angels troubled or stirred the water, then you could be healed by those waters. Still, this song is primarily an African-American spiritual written to help people escape from slavery, from being enslaved in our country. It is said that Harriet Tubman, the Moses of her people, sang the song to warn people to get into a stream or river so that chasing dogs would lose the scent. It's a song calling us to do what needs to be done.
feel like I hear a lovely little melody coming from the phone. There is meaning in every journey that is unknown to the traveler. Dietrich Bonhoeffer spoke those words. Say it one more time. There is meaning in every journey that is unknown to the traveler. Yes, but what if I really want to know? Like, how do I just accept that I might never fully grasp the meaning of this life and all the pieces of it? Anyone else binge watch a favorite show? Or even not a favorite, but one that you've invested enough time in that you can't quit because now you have to know how it ends no matter how off the rails the story went? Show of hands? Yeah. There you go. I need to know what happens. And along the way, not always realizing it, I'm looking for and identifying patterns in everything, making guesses about how things will turn out, usually fairly accurate, as my husband Dave can attest with the endings that I've ruined. But these stories are just that, crafted and packaged to entertain, engage, educate. So many times a viewer can see the path completely for the characters, can see how they got where they are and what lies ahead. The meaning may not be known to the character in the scripted story, but it is to those watching it unfold from the comfort of our homes, if we're so lucky. That same meaning may not be terribly apparent to us while we're living our life stories. There is meaning in every journey that is unknown to the traveler. It's a powerful statement, right? I want to be clear, I don't read it as saying everything happens for a reason or God has a plan for your life. Both of those are simply grand lies in my mind, trying to, in a most unhelpful way, explain away all of the terrible things that happen to people. I don't think that's what our friend Dietrich was saying. I think it's more that I don't know what I don't know, and I can't know what's to come. I can guess, I can hope, I can learn, and I can do my best to plan, and I can keep moving forward, knowing that much of my life will remain a mystery to me. I might not understand situations fully. I might not have meaning revealed to me, but I can live in life's ambiguity and still hold hope. I've recently learned that holding the uncertainty frees me to keep going, to not give up hope when it would be so very easy to stop in despair. I work in low-income advocacy, and there are some days where I wonder, what's the point? Will more than a handful of people ever really care, ever stop blaming poverty on the poor? But you know, maybe the meaning unknown to me is very known to someone else. Maybe the meaning lies in the way we're all connected to one another. My eyes simply aren't able to see every thread. So I've realized I don't need a grand purpose for my life or to understand every nuance, to do as much good as I can in the time I'm given, living into each moment with compassion and hope, liberating my heart from a perceived need to know how all of this will turn out so that I can take one small action at a time, doing what I can to leave the world better than I found it. And I'm going to lead you in a little bit of a song, and there won't be any words on the screen because I, decided to do this at 10 o'clock. So, but there's a song by Emma's Revolution called Keep On Moving Forward. And it's very call and response-y type, and we have our fearless song leaders who will help out, so as they are able. I'm gonna keep on moving forward, keep on moving forward, keep on moving forward, never turning back, never turning back. I'm gonna keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Keep on moving proudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm gonna keep on singing loudly. I'm gonna keep on singing loudly. Keep on singing loudly. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm gonna keep on loving boldly. I'm gonna keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm gonna reach across our borders. Reach across our borders. Reach across our borders. Never turning back. Never turning back. I'm gonna end the occupations. End the occupations. End the occupations. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna stop these wars together. We're gonna stop these wars together. Stop these wars together. Never turning back. Never turning back. We're gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Pack nothing. Bring only your determination to serve and your willingness to be free. Don't wait for the bread to rise. Take nourishment for the journey, but eat standing. Be ready to move at a moment's notice.
Do not hesitate to leave your old ways behind. Fear, silence, submission. Only surrender to the need of time, to love justice and walk humbly with your God.
Begin quickly, before you have time to sink back into old slavery. Set out in the dark. I will send fire to warm and encourage you. I will be with you in the fire, and I will be with you in the cloud.
I will give you dreams in the desert to guide you safely home to that place you have not yet seen. I am sending you into the wilderness to make a new way and to learn my ways more deeply.
Some of you will be so changed by weathers and wanderings that even your closest friends will have to learn your features as though for the first time. Some of you will not change at all.
Some of you will be abandoned by your dearest loves and misunderstood by those who have known you since birth and feel abandoned by you. Some will find new friendship in unlikely faces, and old friends as faithful and true as the pillar of God's flame.
Sing songs as you go and hold close together. You may at times grow confused and lose your way. Touch each other and keep telling the stories. Make maps as you go, remembering the way back from before you were born.
So you will be only the first of many waves of deliverance on these desert seas.
It is the first of many beginnings, your Paschal tide.
Remain true to this mystery.
Pass on the whole story. Do not go back. I am with you now, and I am waiting for you.
Passover Seder celebrates a journey. It celebrates liberation, solidarity, and freedom from oppression. And all our lives are journeys. And indeed, sometimes writing a sermon is a journey too. It doesn't always go where you think that it's going to go. But the Seder and the Exodus story tell not only the escape from Egypt, but also the transformation into a new people, and reminds us of several things. One, that we are all on a journey through life, that we should remember those who suffer, and that those who suffer might well be us at some points. It tells of people who were oppressed, people who were resisting empire. Moses dismantles the politics of oppression and exploitation by countering it with the politics of justice and compassion. So those people were looking for freedom, but they weren't really looking for what they found in freedom, for what they found in the desert. They complained a lot, actually. They muttered and complained. They rebelled against what Moses had to say. They wanted to go back to Egypt where they knew what to expect. They wanted that safety and security. But this story isn't just about our ancestors. In the 13th century BCE, thousands of years ago, it is about the experience of bondage and oppression, of liberation, of covenant community, and the presence of the sacred in our midst, in every generation. And in this generation, in this moment, we see the oppression of both Jewish and Palestinian peoples. So the message of the biblical story is that God is implacably, it's not my words, I'm quoting, implacably opposed to the violent powers of oppression and injustice. God is at work to bring wholeness to those who are broken and dehumanized in the socio-political order, to bring hope to those broken. The good news of the Exodus story is that God can be trusted to oppose and defeat all power arrangements directed against the full experiencing of human well-being. Now, I don't think it matters if you believe in a God who would intervene. I don't think it matters. What matters is that we know the ultimate value of freedom from oppression, of wholeness and love and care, and that we work to bring those. And I believe, and in my experience, that there is a love that holds us all. It doesn't fix everything, but it holds us all. It is there to comfort us. So, freedom and transformation are difficult. The Hebrew people journeyed through the desert and experienced God. They felt fear and complaint, but also awe and gratitude. And they became an alternative, covenanted community. One that held up the value of caring for the widow and the stranger. Liberation requires human action and human response. And the Hebrew people in their journey, by the way, 40 is Bible for a long time. It's not literally that they traveled for 40 years, though maybe they did. But during that, they learned that they have value and that they have responsibilities. They have the responsibility to care for each other, to care for their community. And they learn about possibilities. They are free to know their passion. So there's lots of stories in the Bible many different authors, many different threads. The wisdom of the Bible is about resisting empire, caring for the stranger, the widow, the orphan. It is about living loving lives. But then, it can become, in the next book, sometimes even in the next chapter, about rules, about keeping order, about keeping out or controlling the other. So I remember a book that strongly influenced me when I was in seminary, a book called The Prophetic Imagination by a theologian, Walter Brueggemann. Brueggemann names these two predominant threads in the Hebrew Bible that he calls the prophetic alternative community or the royal consciousness. The story in the Bible of King Solomon is the story of royal consciousness. It's all about affluence and the politics of oppression. The establishment of a controlled, static religion in which the sovereignty of God is fully subordinated to the purpose of the king. There's some people who would like to bring that kind of religion to the fore here and now. Solomon traded a vision of freedom for a vision of security. He banished the neighbor for reducing everyone to servants and slaves. He replaced covenanting with consuming. Royal consciousness excludes hope, dreams, passions, or possibilities. It only values the worth of the elite ruling class. It uses fear. It leads to numbness to genuine feelings, including feelings of grief and suffering. It changes the politics of justice and compassion to the politics of oppression. Does any of that sound familiar? Describing the time of King Solomon, Brueggemann said, covenanting that takes siblings seriously had been replaced by consuming, which regards brothers and sisters as objects to be used. The other thread, Brueggemann calls alternative consciousness and prophetic ministry. He describes the task of prophetic ministry is to nurture, nourish, and evoke a consciousness and perception alternative to the consciousness of the dominant culture. Prophetic ministry calls us to listen to and learn from the voices of the oppressed, to feel and publicly express our feelings of grief and pain, and to publicly express our hopes and yearnings. Prophetic ministries hold on to memory, imagination, and love. It's not all about buying. He writes, I believe that the possibility of passion is a primary prophetic agenda, and it is precisely what the royal consciousness means to eradicate. Passion is the capacity to care, to suffer. To die and to feel is the enemy of imperial reality. Feelings, no matter what, are important. To not be numb, to let ourselves feel and express them. Weeping, says Brueggemann, permits newness and vision. On our journey, it may lead us through to praise and gratitude. And many of us, and many in the world, have been weeping now. And yet, we have many examples of prophetic ministry in the world and in this congregation. At one point during the Seder, let me ask something. How many of you have ever been to a Seder? Okay, a fair amount, but not everybody. At one point in the Seder, a question is asked. Why is this night different from all other nights? This year, in the midst of the Israel-Gaza war and rising anti-Semitism in the United States, some are asking, why is this year, this Pesach, different from all other years? Why is this Seder different from all other Seders? It is a year of war, of mourning, of protest, of fear. Ruth Marcus, an opinion columnist in the Washington Post, writes that this year, giving thanks for liberation has to make way for mourning. The Haggadah is the story, the script retold at the Seder dinner. And Marcus quotes, "For not only one enemy has risen up to destroy us, but in every generation do enemies rise up against us, seeking to destroy us. And in each and every generation, a person is obliged to regard themselves as if they had come out of Egypt." But Marcus also reminds us that the Haggadah begins with the invitation. Let all who are hungry come and eat. All who are needy come and celebrate Passover with us. As Jews, she said, we must open our hearts to the suffering of all. We must mourn every death. And God willing, says Marcus, will be the message of our Passover Seder. The royal consciousness sends messages to be afraid, especially to be afraid of anyone who seems different from you. They push us away from our intention of trying to build beloved community. They want us to forget about inherent worth and dignity, forget about dreams, passions, and possibilities, forget to love. Forget it. Forget care for the stranger. And here's where the sermon went in a different direction. Bibi Netanyahu represents the royal consciousness, and many Israelis and Jewish people worldwide are resisting. In the Exodus story, there are 10 plagues that God sent to convince the Egyptians to let the enslaved people go. They turning water into blood, frogs, lice, wild animals, pestilence of livestock, boils, thunderstorms of hail and fire, locusts, 3 days of darkness, and the death of the firstborn son, which is where Passover comes because the angel of death passes over the Hebrew people. Haaretz, an Israeli newspaper, editorialized the 10 plagues of Netanyahu. First, and think about what I was saying about royal consciousness. First is personality cult, preserving his role at all cost. Second, the crushing of democracy and destroying systems of checks and balances. Third, division and incitement. Fourth, legalizing fascist and racist ideology. 5, externalizing the conflict. 6, advanced annexation. 7, domestic discrimination, racism and exclusion of Arab citizens in Israel. 8, economic collapse. 9, provoking America. And 10, death of the firstborn. At a Seder held in Brooklyn near Senator Schuman's residence on Tuesday night, 200 or more people were arrested as they called for a ceasefire and to stop our government from sending bombs to Israel. Morgan Bashisis, with Jewish Voice for Peace, told the crowd, "We, as American Jews, will not be used. We will not be complicit, and we will not be silent. Judaism is a thousands-year-old beautiful tradition, and Israel is a 76-year-old colonial apartheid state." Switching back to Brueggemann, he suggested 4 things on the practice of alternative community and prophetic ministry. The first is actually to evoke that alternative community, to evoke beloved community. Second, it's not something that happens just on Sundays or Fridays or Saturdays. It is something that we live. It seeks to penetrate the numbness in order to face what's real. What's real in the world, what's real in our lives. And it seeks to penetrate our despair so that we can imagine and hope and believe in new futures and try to live toward them. I'm closing this morning with words of prophetic ministry from, I'm not really sure how to say this first name, but Ite Flesher. He's a peacemaker activist and the Jerusalem correspondent for the Jewish Independence. He has suggestions for this year's Seder. Another point in the Seder, there are 4 children. He says, for others, the 4 children will be an Israeli, a Palestinian, a peacemaker, and one who has no words left within them. The Israeli, what does he say? In this generation, we must all see ourselves as hostages in Gaza, doing all we can to bring them home. The Palestinian, what does she say? The destruction, dispossession, starvation, and death must end. Cease fire now. The peacemakers, what do they say? We both love this land, and neither is leaving. We're in this together. Between the river and the sea, 2 peoples must be free. And the final child has no words. They sit silently in tears with 2 bowls of bitter herbs before them, the bitterness of all, dreaming the dream of the holy and the broken. And maybe together, all will say at the end, this year we are slaves. This year we are hostages. This year we are hungry. Next year in Jerusalem. Next year in freedom. Next year in peace. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be. Let's have a tiny bit of music. We invite you this morning to meditate on your own journey, your own pilgrimage through life, through your own deserts. Meditate on how you may bring that alternative community. If, as Jean Shinoda Bolin says, we are spiritual beings on a human path rather than human beings on a spiritual path, then life is not only a journey, but a quest or pilgrimage as well. When we do experience sacred moments, it's not so much a matter of outer geography, but in finding it in ourselves, in our soulful places. And there is power in our shared silence and shared seek. At one point in the Seder, 4 questions are asked. Rabbi Chai Levy of Berkeley, California, suggested 4 different questions and I want us to consider them as we engage in meditation. The Haggadah reminds us that redemption began when the Israelites cried out. What are you crying out for? Pharaoh's hard heart is the impediment to redemption. How has your heart felt closed in this hard time? How have you, your family, or the Jewish people come through narrow places before? And where are you finding hope? As you are willing and able, please come up the center aisle where Laura and I will give you a paper heart, which suggests and reminds of an intention to live your love in action in the world. What is your way of answering? How will you find ways to live in prophetic ministry? And then we begin a walking meditation, asking you to walk slowly, giving your attention to this moment, to your soulful places, and to the questions in your heart. If you choose, you can use this mantra. Breathing in, all my life I am. Breathing out, seeking, seeking. And then ask you to just walk slowly around back to your seat. Or maybe around a couple of times if you need to. And ask you to be aware of every step. So I invite you to come forward. Oh, and you may also put your stone for joys and sorrows in the bowl if you wish. And we had two joys to share this morning. One was from Erica Duran, having had several members generously invite her into their homes for Passover celebration. These members and this congregation truly keep love at the center. And from Suzanne Smith, who is joyful that the Cumberland Valley School community came together and used their voices for alternative community. To bring back now Pencholi's anti-bullying assembly. Seeing my community come together was inspiring. And so it is when we come together. Every journey begins with a first step and finds pain, darkness, and difficulty along the way.
We know the darkness of ignorance, of fear, of racism, of misogyny, and of exploitation.
Every journey begins with a first step and finds learning, awe, and amazement along the way.
We know the light of hope, the warmth of love, and the renewal of the Spirit.
Every journey begins with a first step and leads us to transformation.
We know the joy of caring, serving, and giving.
Blessed
be
the spirit of life and love and hope, which inspires us to transformation, vision,
and renewal.
Blessed be and amen.
The Unitarian Church of Harrisburg is, as always, an intentionally gathered congregation of freely thinking, loving people. The church is created, sustained, and supported by us. Each month, we share half of our Sunday plate with a local nonprofit organization. For the month of April, we're sharing with Gather the Spirit for Justice. Gather the Spirit for Justice is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that brings together Allison Hill residents, area organizations, businesses, and churches to address issues of social justice and economic equity. The organization strives to be a place where people can find common ground to meet and discuss the changes that need to be made to make Harrisburg a great place to live for all of its residents. If you wish to contribute online, you can visit uchbg.org. That's our website for options. Your financial support and commitment matter. Please consider giving what you are able.
So, thank you for all your gifts, which are graciously given and gratefully received. Distinguish the chalice. Now, I have to admit that I made a mistake in the order of service, and yet we're going to do this because I think it is worth repeating yet again UCH's aspirational covenant. As Laura extinguishes the chalice, let us say, love is the spirit of this congregation.
And service is our gift. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
So may it be. May we work to build that prophetic community, that beloved community. May we work with subversive prayer, hope, vision, dreams, and passion. Let us live and love and pay attention to what we feel as we walk on in our lives. The service is concluded.